Two of the deadliest hunters in comics are about to collide. On one side, you've got Bane, the man who broke the Bat, a towering powerhouse with venom pumping through his veins and a mind sharp enough to outthink anyone. On the other, Kraven the Hunter, the master tracker who's brought Spider-Man to his knees and sees every fight as the ultimate hunt. Both are ruthless, both are strategic, and both pride themselves on finishing what they start. This isn't just muscle versus muscle, it's a brutal showdown between two apex predators fighting to prove who's truly on top. So who wins? Let's find out. Bane grew up in an awful prison in Santa Prisca, forced to live out his father's prison sentence. Every day was a struggle to survive, hardening him and forcing him to perfect both his mind and body. One day though, he managed to escape from prison and went out to make a name for himself. Bane. He's famous for facing off against Batman and attempting to take over Gotham City, intent on breaking Batman both physically and mentally. Bane is incredibly, superhumanly strong just on his own, strong enough to kill grown men with just one punch, or easily wreck members of the Bat family like it's nothing. But when he starts amping himself up with venom, his strength only grows. In fact, the top strength limit that he's ever been reported at in DC Comics is that he can lift up to 15 tons. And even though that might be the most extreme upper limits of his strength, Bane is still more than capable of casually throwing around multi-ton objects like it's nothing. And it's not just that, Bane is routinely able to one-shot some of the toughest members of Batman's rogues gallery. He really is just that strong. He's one-shot Killer Croc, and has routinely been able to defeat Croc. He's one-shot Man-Bat. He's even one-shot Clayface. And it's not just that the venom amps up Bane's strength, it also makes him a whole heck of a lot tougher too. He just simply isn't bothered by most attacks. He's even fine after being in explosions, or being electrocuted, or fighting against fire, on top of just punches and kicks from the likes of Batman and other members of the Bat family. One time, Batman even magically gained the powers of Superman, and Bane was still able to take punches and attacks from Batman. But Bane isn't just some big, strong, mindless brute, even if some media would have you believe otherwise. No, Bane is actually incredibly intelligent. He's actually one of the smartest villains that Batman has to fight against. And Bane is one of the few who's not just been able to actually outright beat Batman, but he's also one of the few who was able to discover that Batman was in fact Bruce Wayne. Bane is a skilled and formidable fighter. He's been able to pretty much dominate Killer Croc in a lot of their fights. He's beaten Batman, Nightwing, Red Hood all quite a bit. No, really, he's beaten Batman actually quite a few times. And Bane has just rampaged through Batman's rogues gallery before and beat pretty much all of them, even including the likes of Solomon Grundy. Bane is incredibly strong, incredibly tough. He's just a force of nature out there on the battlefield. Sergei Kravenov was the greatest hunter known to man, a Russian master who had hunted and killed nearly every beast to have walked the earth. However, he eventually grew bored. Because of lack of a true challenge, Kraven took off to America to hunt down a more dangerous game, Spider-Man. Kraven's done several things to enhance and augment his physical abilities, reaching to the point where he's pretty much a certified superhuman. He's way stronger, faster, and tougher than any human out there, and thanks to the mystical potions that he's taken, he's top of the food chain, meaning that he's actually physically superior than even someone like Captain America. He's strong enough to lift several tons. He can throw one heck of a punch, and actually because of his strength on top of his fighting skill and experience, he's strong enough to overpower Spider-Man from time to time and hold his own in a fight. Sergi's also very tough. He can brush off attacks that would definitely kill most any human. Like Kraven's been able to keep on fighting after taking punches and attacks from Spider-Man, and a Spider-Man who's definitely done holding back and was going all out against him. Kraven's taken it all and just smiled. And that's not the only powerful hero that Kraven's managed to piss off. He's even taken attacks from the Hulk before. Literally, the Hulk. He's also incredibly fast and agile. Kraven isn't just able to dodge bullets and move faster than the eye can see, but the man is fast enough to routinely keep up with Spider-Man or other members of the Spider family during their fights. He's not necessarily faster than them, but he's definitely fast enough to hold his own. But probably the best thing going for Kraven is that he's a master fighter and hunter. Kraven is an expert in all sorts of armed and unarmed forms of combat. He's actually a skilled enough fighter to beat Spider-Man. And not just beat Spider-Man, who's already more powerful than him, but he's also beaten Vermin, a villain who Spider-Man needed to team up with Captain America to defeat. And he's beaten Daredevil too, so he can definitely beat skilled opponents as well. Kraven's fighting style is incredibly savage in nature, formed out of years of fighting wild animals with his bare hands. But Kraven isn't always just fighting hand to hand. He's got no problem using weapons and will go out into the hunt with a wide assortment of gear and weapons, ranging from swords and knives to guns and explosives to bow and arrows and spears. He tends to go with more tribal weaponry for the thrill of the hunt, but he's skilled with every single weapon he can get his hands on. He's got no problem using poisons or tranks to slow down opponents and beat them that way. End of the day, Kraven is the greatest hunter on Earth, and his skill at the hunt makes him a formidable opponent for just about anyone. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, both of these guys are insanely skilled and dangerous fighters. One's broken the bat, the other managed to hunt down and defeat Spider-Man. So let me just tell you, the two of them going up against each other, well, it could be one heck of a good fight. Kraven is seriously strong. I mean, there's a reason why he's a Spider-Man villain. It's because he's physically powerful enough to battle against Spider-Man. He's managed to overpower Spider-Man several different times and even beat Peter in some of their fights. And it doesn't just stop there for Kraven's strength. He's easily knocked out Daredevil, thrown around super strong characters like Beast and Vermin. Kraven's not just able to easily overpower pretty much any animal out there, but even a lot of street level heroes. However, even though Kraven can battle with a bloodlusted Spider-Man, well, I think Bane is still the stronger one out of the two. Bane can easily lift 15 to 25 tons. He can one-hand multi-ton boulders, even pick up and toss around storage containers. And that strength definitely shows up every time Bane throws a punch. Like he's legitimately one-shot superhumans like Killer Croc and Man-Bat before. He's brought down true superhumans like Solomon Grundy and Mammoth in fights. Bane has even proved himself to be stronger than Captain America in a crossover. I know you still might want to argue that Kraven is stronger and more powerful than Cap. Being able to fight against Spider-Man does showcase a lot of power. But I think Cap and Kraven are both peak human potential, and Bane with Venom has proven himself to be much more than that. Same with durability. Kraven has repeatedly been able to take punch after punch and kick after kick from Spider-Man, even just simply smiling after being laid into by a pissed off and bloodlusted Pete. So, very obvious the man can take a punch. There was even a time where Kraven tried to hunt down the Hulk, so big balls for him. And Hulk let him know what he thought of this by launching him way far away. But it's just like strength, for as impressive as Kraven is, I think with the Venom, well, Bane just takes a slight edge. Like, if Kraven is beaten up by the Hulk, well, Bane has been beaten up by Superman. Or, I mean, I guess, technically, Batman with the powers of Superman, but you get my point. Follow that up with being too big and too strong for knives or even bullets to bother him, tanking explosions and electric shocks, basically everything that Batman can throw at him. Well, it's very tough to put Bane down. You can't even put Bane down anymore by just cutting his supply to Venom, because the Venom is already in his bloodstream. You basically have to gut him to get rid of the Venom. Now, Kraven has no problem doing this, but still, it's Bane. Easier said than done. And that's because, in large part, Bane is a way better fighter than Kraven. Kraven is a skilled and dangerous hunter. But just like Batman, well, Bane has spent his entire life honing his body into the perfect weapon. And just like Batman, well, Bane is one of the greatest fighters to have ever walked the face of the earth. Bane, without Venom, has been able to beat Batman multiple times in fair fights. Bane has been able to beat the Flashpoint Batman in a fight. The same Batman who's able to take down the entire Bat family by himself. There have even been several times where Bane has fought his way through the entirety of Batman's rogues gallery, fighting against them for hours on end, or even battling against them when they were all amped up on Venom and he didn't have any Venom and was currently injured. Of course, I think all of Kraven's hunting weapons and gear can even those odds a little bit. He's got all sorts of bladed weapons, knives, spears, war clubs, electrical attacks, poisons, sedatives, toxins, all sorts of different weapons that Kraven brings into a hunt. Of course, this would probably be a little bit more worrisome for Bane if his arch nemesis wasn't Batman, the guy who is constantly prepared for anything and carries an arsenal around his waist at all times. Bane is more than used to fighting against a prepped fighter. Kraven is really no different. End of the day, I think this is a close and hard-fought fight. Bane's able to beat Batman, Kraven's able to beat Spider-Man. They'll clearly be able to give each other a good battle. But I think Bane holds the physical edge over Kraven, especially amped with Venom, and while Kraven is able to fight against a more powerful opponent in Spider-Man, well, Spider-Man didn't grow up in a prison where his very existence was hell from the get-go, nor has Spider-Man made up multiple different martial arts, all while mastering many others from a young age. Bane is both physically more powerful and the better fighter, and I think that's what's going to lead him to victory here. Bane wins.